name is Jason JROCK Houston. You guys are listening to an interview being done tonight for Chaotic Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. It's my great pleasure to be speaking with drummer Pete Holmes. And Pete Holmes, the reason we're talking to you tonight is you got a new band with Juan Croucier, who most people know as the original bass player from Ratt. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Hello, everybody. Yeah.
And before we get into the new band, I wanted, I hope you don't mind if we go back in time and talk a little bit about Black and Blue. I know the band reunited a few years back. Are you still playing with them?
Absolutely, yeah. We're still doing shows, and yeah, I'm the one and only drummer.
Yeah. And now let me ask you, Pete. Of all the Black and Blue albums, which would you say was your all-time favorite? You know, that you hold that up to and just say, you know, that when you think of Black and Blue, that's the album for you.
For me personally, it would be the second album, Without Love. It's just a great album, great production, great songwriting. You know, influenced a lot of great artists. Influenced Bon Jovi to do Slippery When Wet.
Yeah, wow.
Great album.
And now let me ask you, going back before Black and Blue, how old were you when you first started playing the drums? And I was kind of curious, why was the drums your instrument of choice?
You know, I think I was probably somewhere around between 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like it's not something I didn't choose. It just, it chose me. You know, modern music at that time when I was growing up was just a huge influence on me. And from the second I heard rock and roll, I just was drawn to it and to the drums. So,
and as far as drummers that influenced you, who are the guys that really, made an impression on you?
I mean, everybody, obviously, but in the early years, Bonham, Neil Peart, Don Brewer from Grand Funk. I mean, just everybody that you would think is influenced me. Every drummer is influenced me.
And now, what year did Black and Blue really, start to get off the ground? I mean, I was reading something on your Facebook page that I guess you and Jamie were on the track team together back in high school.
Jamie and I known each other since high school, yeah. I think, we formed Black and Blue in 80, 81, and moved to Los Angeles from Portland, Oregon, and within a year we had a record deal signed to Geffen Records, and did our first album with Dieter Dirks, who did all the Scorpion stuff.
Wow.
And first album went gold, did real well, so we were able to start doing a lot of touring right then and there.
Yeah, and
I think our first tour was Black and Blue, Dio, and Whitesnake.
Wow, what a bill! And so when the band was, you just put out your debut album, I bet it seemed like things were kind of happening for you guys kind of overnight.
Well, it always seems like that. I think everybody thinks, but the band had probably been together for 3 or 4 years prior to that.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had to make a move. We knew that staying in Portland wasn't going to be conducive to doing anything. And, of course, like I said, I've been playing, and the other guys in the band have been playing that long as well. So, it's a long road. It seems like it happened overnight, but it was a long thought-out process, I think, started way back when I was in grade school.
Wow. Well, and let me ask you, because I'm a big Kiss fan myself, so I got to ask, do you remember how Gene Simmons came to produce those 2 albums for you guys?
I just know that he heard the band, and he really liked the songs, and so they took us out on the road with them, opening for them, and that was, I think, after Without Love, our second record, and, we just all became friends. Everybody in Black and Blue became friends with everybody in Kiss, and he showed an interest in the band and asked if he could work with us, and, we would have been fools to say no.
Yeah.
So, it was a real natural progression, for both bands, I think.
And what was he like to work with in the studio as a producer? Because I mean, I imagine you must have been a Kiss fan yourself, and that must have been kind of like an amazing feeling to have this legendary, one of your heroes in the studio with your band producing you guys.
Well, yeah, but like I said, we did a tour with them first.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of got that. I was able to see them every night, become friends with them. Yeah. So by the time we got in the studio, I had already was good friends with Gene, and as was the whole band, and the process was really good. We had a really good working relationship, and we were a pretty strong-minded band. If we didn't really want to do something that Gene had suggested, or he was trying to steer us in a certain direction that we didn't want to go, he said, "Hey, man, this is our band. This isn't your band. We're going to do it this way." In the end, he really respected that, and everybody still remains friends.
That's cool.
To this day, so.
That's cool. I believe it was on the Nasty Nasty album. Peter Criss appeared on that album. How did he get involved? Was that your guys' idea or something Gene suggested?
I think it was probably, on the song you're talking about, Ron Keel also sang on that song.
Oh, okay,
too.
okay.
So, yeah, we were just getting a couple of buddies to sing on it, and at that time, Kiss was, I think, they might have been talking about doing, getting Peter and back in the band with Ace, and I don't know, I know that Eric was still in the band, but they were still friends and everything, so it just kind of happened that way,
And kind of moving on a few years ahead, I was kind of curious, as far as the breakup of Black and Blue, did that kind of come at a time where, the albums kind of stopped selling stuff? Was it just a band decision? Okay, we're going to take a break for a while. What was the process as far as once the band, decided, okay, we're going to call it a day?
Yeah, I think it was kind of like that. We did 4 or 5 records on Geffen, and they just kind of finally went, well, hey, we've fulfilled the contracts have been fulfilled. Yeah. Nothing was cut short or anything, and at that time we were still associated with Gene because he had produced the last record in Heat. And he said, "Well, hey, I'll take you guys on, and I'll get you a record deal. We'll go out there. I know everybody. I'll showcase you. I'll be kind of manage you, and we'll get you another record deal." So we did that for about a year, maybe a little less than that, but nothing really ever happened. And we kind of just went, well, we saw the writing on the wall. We said, probably time to go do some other things.
And let me ask you, at that point, well, even talking today, because Black and Blue's back together, like you said, and you guys are still playing out, and I know you guys put out a great new studio album a couple of years back. Now, my question is, those past Black and Blue albums, several of them are out of print. Have you guys ever talked about, like, maybe putting together, like, a greatest hits collection or trying to re-release any of that stuff?
There is a lot of stuff. All that stuff's available. All you got to do is go to Amazon and put in Black and Blue.
Oh, okay.
The record.
Well, that's good to know.
It's available, and there is some compilations. There's a lot of there's a couple greatest hits. There's rarities out there. There's Live in Detroit. Yeah, if you just go to any record, any place that sells records online that rock stuff, you can find no problem.
That's good to know. I'll do that because I've been looking for some of the stuff because it's very hard to find. It's like at least there's not too many record stores these days. What's a record store? But
go online, go to Amazon, you'll have no problem finding any of that. Just spell it the right way, Black and Blue, and not and Black and Blue, and type in the name, and you'll type in the album.
Yeah, as far as the band name, I was curious. Do you remember how you guys came up with that name? Because it's quite a unique, cool sounding name to me.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I think Tommy came up with the name. We were just trying to think of something that sounded like hard hitting, like when you got hit, It left a mark. It looked bruised.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's kind of how it came about.
And now, again, like I was saying, you guys put out a great studio album a couple of years when you first got back together, and it took a while for that to come out. Is there any chance that Black and Blue might put out any more new music, or is that pretty much it, do you think, for now?
There's always a chance. I didn't know there's no plans for it at this point in time. We still have shows to do next year, and we're just happy with playing live right now. You know, it's a really great thing to play live, and there's three of the remaining members now. It's me, Jamie, and Pat Young, who's a bass player, and so we're having fun right now. You know, we're having fun right now playing.
That's cool.
And it's all good. You know.
And I was going to ask you, because I was reading something, a couple months back about your guitar player, Jeff Warner, but he'd kind of disappeared. Did they ever find him, or is he still kind of missing? Do you mind talking about him?
He did. He's fine. Jeff's got his ups and downs, so we just worry about him sometimes, but he's doing good right now.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear, because there'd been a post there, somebody read it, that he was missing, so I'm glad to hear he's doing good. That's the important thing. And now, the last Black and Blue related thing I kind of want to ask you, so after the band had split up, how surprised were you when you get a call, I guess from Jamie, saying that he wants to put the band back together? What was that like?
Well, it was quite a while.
From the
break up. I mean, you can go decades, but I wasn't too surprised, It was actually just really, it's kind of a natural thing. I think it was just like, hey, we should go play some shows, or we got an offer to play a show. It's not really anything that we tried to do. It just was like one day there was some shows available for us to do, so we got together and played, and it's just been kind of growing and kind of resurgence again ever since then.
Were you at all surprised to see that the band, still had such a loyal fan base? I mean, that must have been an amazing feeling.
I mean, it really, that really has come true over the past couple of years, especially this year. We've got some shows. We played M3 this year back in Baltimore, and we were playing in front of 12,000 people that were going nuts. I mean, it really great. So everywhere that we play, we really, the fans are there, and everybody, it just proves that the band can stand the test of time. The songs are some great songs, and that people enjoy it. So cool.
I mean, everybody I know has got to remember the first time they heard that song, "Hang On to 18." That's just such a, and that was all over MTV back in the day. So, now let me ask you, because like I said at the top of the interview, you now have a new project with Juan Croucier, who most people know is the original bass player from Ratt. The project is called Ratt's Juan Croucier. Now, I know before this project that you and Juan had another band called Dirty Ratt. So I was kind of curious, what was the point when you and Juan first hooked up?
Well, Dirty Ratt was actually something that Juan had prior to us playing. I think when we got together, Jamie and I were looking for something new to do. Black and Blue wasn't playing. It was kind of a down time, and we decided to put an all-star band together, and so we called the band Hard Rock All-Stars. It was originally Jamie, myself, Juan, and Johnny Love from Love Hate playing guitar. And we just played like old 70s covers, old Alice Cooper and Golden Earring and stuff like that. So that's when we started playing. But I've known Juan for 30 years. I've known Juan back from the day when Ratt, Black and Blue, and Molly and everybody were playing around Hollywood. All hanging out in buds. So I've known Juan for quite some time, but this would have been the first time that we had played together, although we hadn't talked about it before.
And so this latest project, I mean, I guess you guys launched it. It's probably been together a little bit before that, but I guess it officially got launched like around August 4th of this year. So what was the point when this project really started to develop, and you got all the players lined up?
Well, we went through Juan and I went through a lengthy process of auditioning guitars and guitar players, and we knew we needed a 2-guitar band. So I guess probably, like you say, right around June, July, somewhere in there. I'm kind of foggy on exactly.
But
so we finalized the two guys. The two guys we're playing with now, Mike Moore and Tony Allen, and with the intent of going out and performing this music, but the bigger picture, obviously, recording our own stuff and getting our own stuff out there, which is in the works right now. So
yeah, that's kind of what. That's kind of what I want.
We want to keep doing. We want to keep playing the Ratt stuff, but there is a bigger picture that we want to paint.
That's kind of what I want to kind of touch base on, because I was talking to your guitar player Mike. I interviewed him, and he's kind of talking a little bit about this. The whole thing of this Ratt's Juan Croucier is kind of to get the band out there, kind of get people to come to the show, because obviously he's probably the you and him are probably the two people that most people know about, and Ratt, who hasn't heard a Ratt song, so it's getting people out to the crowd. And Mike was telling me too that you guys have plans to eventually, do your own original stuff, maybe a CD or EP or something down the line. So I think that's really cool that you guys are kind of moving in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as musicians, that's what we want to do, and certainly we don't want to dwell. The Ratt stuff is great stuff. I mean, of course it is. We want to do our own stuff. This isn't Ratt. This band isn't Ratt, and we want to. And that's our intent. It's always been Juan's and my intent to get this out and do our own music. And yeah, absolutely, that's going to happen. So that's coming out.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to touch base on this, but I got to ask, at any point were you or Juan ever concerned about Bobby Blotzer's attempt to try to shut this down?
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
No worried about it. Never, no.
Because the only thing I'm going to say on the subject, I had my own experience with Mr. Blotzer, but I think if anybody has a right to go out and play this rap music, I definitely would have to say it would be Juan, Stephen, and Warren, because these are the guys that wrote these songs, and then I think the great thing about the band you guys got going is, Juan was kind of the Michael Anthony of Ratt. He did all those great background vocals. I mean, he was the background sound of Ratt, and I think it's great that he's finally getting a chance to go out there and sing this stuff live.
Yeah, he's a great singer, and him singing this stuff is real normal because, like you mentioned, he did write or co-wrote everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, stuff like "You're in Love" and all that kind of stuff, that's strictly him writing everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. For him to sing it is it's not new to him. He's always been a lead singer. It just wasn't his role in Ratt. So, but he's always been a vocalist and a great one, I might add. So, I think the band sounds great with him singing. I think it's a great. It's a new touch, yet it's an old familiar thing because these are his songs,
Very cool. Yeah, and like what Mr. Blotzer might think, I don't think anybody here is trying to mislead the fans into thinking this is Ratt. It's not that. I mean, I've heard things where like, okay, that's obviously to me that, okay, it's called Ratt's Juan Croucier. It's Juan Croucier. He's a bass player from Ratt. But in any of the ads I've seen, I don't see anybody calling this band Ratt. So I don't think any of the fans are being misled. I must put that out there as well.
No, absolutely not. No, we're not saying we're not saying anything that's not true. Juan was in Ratt.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and that's where he came from, and those are the songs we're doing. So yeah, we're certainly not trying to do that. That's certainly not our intent, and we're not on stage flying any big Ratt banners or anything like that. This band is all about performance and the music end of it. And if you want to see this music performed well, this band's killing it. You gotta come see us when we're playing live near you.
Yeah, and now let me ask you, Pete, because when I first seen a press before I started hearing about your guys' project before the official press release came out, and I thought right away, okay, Pete Holmes from Black and Blue, Juan Croucier, maybe they're going to be playing Black and Blue and Ratt stuff. Now, was that ever an idea, or was your kind of thought, well, I'm already playing Black and Blue material, Black and Blue, so let's do something different here? Is that kind of the thought process?
I don't think it. I don't think it was. I think that it just kind of happened that staying true to everything. Juan singing those songs was a huge
Yeah.
I mean, you got to kind of look at it like we're doing songs that Juan wrote. If you kind of step away from the rap moniker and say, well, these are songs that Juan wrote that he came up with a melody line and everything. So we're really kind of doing his original, original music, for lack of a better term. And so, I mean, that's kind of the direction we were going in. You know, if we'd done Black and Blue, it would have, sure, I was in the band and everything, but this is kind of twofold in the sense that he's playing bass and he's singing, and it's kind of a little bit of a time machine, and it's just all cool that way. So, it wasn't really that much thought that went into it. We just thought, hey, we can do these songs, and you're going to be the singer, and it just kind of worked out that way. It wasn't a real thought out process.
Well, that's cool to hear, and to me again, this has more validity to me, to me anyways, personally, than Bobby Bloch's Ratt. He's the only original member, and the thing to me is, okay, he's not even a guy that wrote any of the songs. I mean, like I said, Stephen, Warren, even Robin and Juan, they wrote all those great Ratt tunes. And so if any of the guys have right to go out and do the music, I'd say it's the guys that wrote the songs, definitely, and we'll just leave it at that. Now I got to ask you, you being a professional musician, you were, like you said, you were back in the scene in LA when Motley and Ratt and Black and Blue were coming up at the same time. Of all the Ratt albums, is there one that's closest to your heart? I mean, going back, like when that first EP was released, what do you remember from hearing that EP for the very first time?
Well, I'd seen Ratt playing, and we actually got Black and Blue got signed before Ratt.
Yeah.
But we shared equipment. We played the same venues. We did a lot of Black and Blue and Ratt shows back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And they were just raw. They were really killer. That EP is killer. We're probably playing 4 out of 5 songs off that thing. We're doing Tell the World, and we're doing Sweet Cheater.
Wow.
So, just great. It was raw rock and roll. It was so cool to be a musician and coming from a different place, being Portland, Oregon, and coming down here and experiencing a different club scene than what was up in Portland, and really getting an education in how to play rock and roll live, and it's not a dance club; it's a concert hall type vibe. So it was very cool. I loved Ratt back in the day, still do.
And let me ask you, like, back in the day, like, talking about, even Black and Blue and Ratt are like two. I mean, I can see you guys doing shows together, but it's two different, totally type of bands. Now, Ratt coming out with that first EP, it's very, very heavy, very. I wouldn't even call it hard rock. I'd just say almost full blown on metal. And then when a year later, they put out Out of the Cellar, which is very much more commercial and poppy sounding, but that is the album that everybody goes to when they think of Ratt. They think of Out of the Cellar immediately. How surprised were you, when you compare the EP to Out of the Cellar when you heard that for the very first time?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I think that a lot of bands were kind of like that back in the day when we were getting deals. You'd go to a record company, you'd get this big name producer, and he'd kind of put this little more polished spin on it. I mean, you even hear that with Motley's stuff. You hear Too Fast for Love and Child of the Devil. You can definitely hear that it goes, even though they're both heavy records, it's going from something really raw and almost punk to something that was a little more polished metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a natural progression.
Yeah.
It's a natural progression.
And as far as Out of the Cellar, it's still a classic album. I mean, it's the one album everybody points to when you hear the name Ratt. That's the first album, Round and Round. That's the first song people think of. And it's amazing. 30 years after the fact, that's half the songs in the Ratt set list. That's half the. That's everybody's go-to album for Ratt. So what's it been like, when you guys first started rehearsing this material? Did it take you long to learn how to play this, or did you pretty much know how to play the bulk of these songs?
Well, I mean, you just kind of stay true to. I try to stay pretty true to the drum parts, but make them current.
Yeah.
current sounding, and obviously add a little bit of myself in there. You know, I just don't want to play everything strictly like it was recorded.
Yeah.
And you know, Juan encourages that. You know, he really encourages that. He knows how important it is to stay current as well as to retain the important parts of the songs and of that music. You know, so you know, I've been playing a long time, and it's, you know, I'm lucky to be able to go and play music that I like. So learning those songs it was great. You know, it's always great to go back and test yourself and, you know, learn new stuff, because even though the songs have been around for 30 years, I've never played them. So
and
new stuff to me. So, you know, it's great. You know, a lot of fun.
And I was curious, once once the band got into rehearsal mode, like, was it just a matter of everybody learning the songs, or like, would Juan like tell you guys, like, you know, I remember this and that, you know, tell these stories about back in the day, oh, this is what we wrote this song about, and this was what was going on at the time? Did he share any of that stuff with you guys as you were going along?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we all, you know, him and I, like I say, since we've known each other for 30 years, so we were constantly sharing stories, and definitely it's just like that, you know. But we are in there, you know. It's for this band, like I said earlier, it's really about the music, and it's very important for us to get in there and play the right notes, the right chords, play it the right way, play it correctly. And when you have a key writer there who is not only the vocalist but is a musician within the band, he knows what the right notes are. He knows how it's supposed to be played. He knows all this. So it's it's not simply just going, oh, you know, that sounds right. That's not how it does on the record. That's good enough. There is no that's good enough. It has to be the right way. It has to be better than good. So with a lot of hard work. I mean, the rehearsals are grueling. So you know, we hope that that's coming across when we play, for sure.
Yeah, and you know what amazes me about the man is the fact, until he returned to Ratt, I mean, I know he had a band for a little while called Liquid Sunday. He had the Dirty Rats with you, the Hollywood All-Stars, and then but he was away. You know, he wasn't playing those big arena rock shows for almost like 20 years. He was producing albums. He had his own studio, and yet once the man returned to the scene, you know, and he did all these shows with Ratt, and then the band kind of fell apart again. But you know, it's like the guy was away from a scene, you know, not really in the spotlight for like 20 years, and man, it just amazes me that he's still able to do what he does.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's one of the things about playing rock and roll, and you know, being born into that part, if I may put it that way. It's not very hard to, you know, it's like riding a bike, to use that cliche. It really is. You know, you don't forget anything. Yeah, I mean, you know, as far as playing music and putting on a show and the whole thing, I mean, that is easier to probably grasp a hold of than it is to remember phone numbers or something like that. But you also have to remember too that he wasn't strictly, just because he might not have been in the spotlight or you know, everybody knows
what he was doing,
what he's doing or anything, that he's constantly involved in music. I mean, that is his life. You know, that's what he does. That's Juan Croucier. So he you know, not a big deal, not a big, you know, it's just getting back in fighting shape is all it is, you know.
And like you said, it seems like you guys have got a great partnership too. Like you said, this is a guy you know him for over 30 years. You did your thing in the Dirty Rats for a few years, and now you got this project going. So, you know, how would you say you and he lock in together as a rhythm section? I mean, you think you guys have reached the point where you can kind of read what he's doing and vice versa before you guys even play a note?
Absolutely, yeah. There's only a few bass players that I feel that way about, and there's probably 2 or 3 guys that I feel that way about, and he's definitely one of them. You know, I know he's you know, my safety net. I know I can always rely on him. I know what his feel is. The second I start playing with them, it's so natural that it's a non-thinking process, you know. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a brotherhood in many, many ways, you know.
And talk a little bit about the two guitar players, Mike and Tony. I mean, what do you feel they brought into the band, or what they bring to playing these songs?
Well, I think that the reason that we went with these two guys was because of their enthusiasm and because of kind of what Juan and I had read into their auditions, as far as dedication and, I think their willingness to want to learn these songs and play them right and be able to take the constructive criticism. I think that, if you're going to be a good musician, not just a guitar player or a drummer or whatever, you have to be able to take constructive criticism. You have to be able to be told that you're not playing that right. Hey, that's not, you need to do this, you need to do that. And not take it personal, So that's a huge thing to be told how to play, or to be told that you're not playing wrong, or you're not playing a part right, and to be able to go, okay, let me learn it better, show me how you want to play it, let me work on this for a moment. And that's what they really brought to it, Not only are they great guitar players and they know their places, they know who's going to take most of the leads, who's going to, although they know the parts they're doing. We've got these guys, Mike to play Robin's stuff and Tony to do Warren's stuff. And so that's what they're supposed to focus on. And those guys really have stepped up to the plate, man. They've done a really great job.
So let's talk about the live show now. Like, let's go back to when you guys played the very first live show. What was that experience like? I mean, did it go over the way you thought it would, or what was your experience from that very first show?
I thought the band played pretty good. The first show we did was in Detroit. I think that there's always room for improvement, and every show is very different. And like you said, it was our first show. First time on stage playing live. So, but we had done our homework. We had rehearsed so well that nobody was worried about the music or anything like that. I think our main concern was, not a concern, but we were just curious to see what the crowd reaction was, and it was great. So, I think the first show was a definite success.
And what do you think, P? Like when you go on YouTube and you have these fans posting videos of each songs that you guys, of all the songs you guys performed during concert. Do you care much about checking out what the people think, or what's that experience been like for you?
To a certain point, we want people to enjoy it, and it's interesting to see what people have to say. I take everything with a grain of salt, and I don't sweat the small stuff. At the end of the day, you're really either going to like it or you're not going to like it.
You can't please everybody, obviously.
Yeah, and with the internet, now everybody's able to say anything they want right away. The judgment is so quick, and so with that, it's just the time we live in. So I don't get deep into reading stuff about it. I kind of look at it and move on.
Yeah. Now let me ask you, for the people that are digging what you guys are doing, has there been any talk of maybe like these shows that you're doing right now, playing majority of a rap material, like a live DVD or a CD or something down the line, or you guys really not into doing something like that?
Yeah, there's always a possibility of that. The thing is, we're so early on
in
the first stages of this thing, but I'm sure that's going to happen at some point. I would almost definitely bet on that.
Well, that would be a great thing, I'll tell you, for Ratt fans, for the simple fact that if you're a Ratt fan, Ratt themselves never put out a live album for whatever reason. But I could just imagine, these Ratt songs. See, and you probably see this playing this stuff. It's just such great material. I mean, the way these songs, they've all got great hooks. I mean, that's why you must really get off on playing these songs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, every song that we're doing is, every song we're doing, everything, is a hit in some respects,
Mm-hmm.
It is a great song for sure, but it definitely, I'm just going down the list, going, wow, just hit after hit after hit after hit. I mean, when you do, 6, 7, 8, 9 albums, and you sell, 20 million records, there's definitely a lot of music that people enjoy, that people enjoy. So it's kind of like you can pick, you can go, oh, that's a great one, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that. It's not hard to pick good songs,
Now, obviously, like you're saying, Ratt's got so much, so many great songs, so many hits, and that's got to be a big chunk of the set list. But like, how much of a say would you say you and the other guys get in as far as a set list, or is it more of like Juan feeling comfortable with if he can sing the material on that?
No, I think he can sing anything.
Yeah.
I think he can sing any of this stuff. I know he can.
Okay.
So we can do any of that stuff we want,
That's great.
Yeah, he doesn't have a hard time singing any of that, so that certainly hasn't been an issue at all regarding what we're going to play.
And now let me ask you, the guy in the band that's playing this material with him live, obviously he sounds nothing like Stephen Pearcy, but I can tell, like, even in the background stuff that he's done over the years, that he's quite a capable lead singer. I can tell that on a lot of the YouTube stuff of your guys' band. But I got to ask, do you think the fact that he doesn't sound exactly like a Stephen Pearcy clone, that kind of gives these songs a new life?
Yeah, I think it makes them current, and I think that if what I'm really finding out is that, and I really didn't think too much about it. When I thought about going out and playing these songs, which I still think today, the songs are so great that if somebody just sing them well, you dig the song. If you were going to see a cover band, a copy band, and they played any one of those Ratt songs, and you'd probably enjoy it. For the most part, the people would enjoy it. Well, when you have a guy that wrote it, a guy that played bass on it, a guy that probably wrote the vocal melody, and who sung the backgrounds, you don't get too much closer than that to the real thing. I mean, it is the real thing. It's the original thing. It is the bass. It is the voice. It is the songwriter. So, and it keeps it current. It does keep it current. And he's got a great voice.
And I will say this. There's only a few bands, like, okay, you take a band like Queen, Ratt, Motley Crue, maybe even a Kiss, where you got a band where they've got a ton of material that's just got great hooks and catchy lines. These are greatly written tunes. So that's why if you get any decent singer in your band, even talking about in a Ratt tribute band, this is just such great material. If you get a decent enough singer, I think anybody could sing this stuff. That's as far as anybody that's got any talent as a vocalist. That's why, again, Mr. Blotzer goes online and says, "Oh, my singer sings this stuff like nobody else." But you know what? If you get a decent enough singer, they're greatly written songs. You can't you can't go too wrong as long as you got some guy that can carry a tune.
Well, and let's not forget who this is singing the stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the guy from Ratt. It's not just the guy standing there playing bass. It's the guy that wrote it. It's the guy that did the
Yeah.
It's the guy that played the bass on all the records. I mean, come on now. So, you're getting a double shot of this. You're getting him singing. You're getting him playing bass. Plus the songs that he wrote. So, you're not going to get that with any other band.
And see, again, what gives this project such validity to me is because when you guys initially launched this band, in the ads we were seeing, Ratt's Juan Croucier, the other voice of Ratt. That's exactly what this is. You're getting the other voice, the other guy that wrote the bulk of his stuff and sang all those great background vocals. So that's what this is, and he's getting a chance to kind of come up to the front of a stage and, be center stage as, he deserves to be.
Yeah, absolutely. He's completely comfortable there. He's a great front man. You can tell that he's been doing it all his life. So, I mean, that's the truth. He is the other voice. So, yeah, for sure, man. It is a great thing playing with him live, for sure.
And I won't keep you much longer, Pete, because I know you're very busy tonight. But before I let you go, just a couple other questions. Now, I imagine for the remainder of the year, you're going to be doing these, kind of weekend shows. Is that the plan? And then, at what, are you booking shows currently, like into next year, or is it kind of till the end of the year and you're going to start working on like a CD of new music?
Well, kind of all the above. I mean, we'll continue to play live and through the end of the year here, and then we're definitely already starting to gear up for 2016 with shows and recording too. We want to get some of our new stuff out there, as soon as possible, and that's one of our priorities. So that's something we'll hit right off.
As far as the recording, I was curious. Have you guys given any thought, like, is this going to be like a 5 or 6 song EP? You're going to get a full length, or is that still something that you're kind of talking about?
Yeah, we're still working out those kinks. We want to find out, we want to figure out what we think would be best, and just kind of go from there. So it really hasn't been
much talk, yeah.
That hasn't been figured out yet, but we got material and we got all those options, so that'll happen soon enough.
And now let me ask you, once you get some new music out, will a lot of that new music, I imagine, will take center stage, and the whole set won't be primarily just the Ratt tunes. Is that kind of where you guys are thinking?
Well, we're always going to be playing the Ratt stuff.
That's good to hear.
We'd be crazy to come out and play, 6 or 8 songs of new material that nobody knew.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that. That makes all the sense in the world, because even if you put out a 5 or 6 song EP, you're still giving fans a little something new. Now, I would think the great thing about doing new music with a project like this is you don't necessarily have to have the song sound just like Ratt. You could kind of, just go in there and record, and whatever comes out, comes out.
Well, I mean, it's going to sound like this band. It's not going to be, it's not going to be Ratt.
Yeah.
And it's not that songs aren't, I think the only thing that would probably, I mean, it's a huge thing, Juan writes a lot of different music, and some of it will sound a little bit like that, but it'll definitely be, it will be the sound of this band. It will be the original sound of this band, and the music will be available to everybody. So when you do come and see the show, the music will be familiar to you if you have listened to it. So I mean, no, it's going to be rock and stuff. It's going to be, it's going to be killer.
Yeah, and how excited
band already. So,
and how excited are you, Pete, to get in there and record some new music, and be laying down like some original Pete Holmes drum tracks, and I'll be thinking so much about playing everything the way Bobby Blotzer played it, so to speak.
I've done a lot of records. I've recorded with a lot of people. Played with some of the greatest guitar players in the world, and I'm looking forward to getting into recording. Yeah, we got a great analog studio as well as digital, so we are going to be going to do stuff on analog 2-inch tape.
Oh.
Everybody today does digital. We're going to go back and do it like we did old style back in the day, and do it on tape where it sounds fuller and bigger and boomier, and you really got to know how to play your instrument and play it well for it to record this way. So.
And you kind of, I think, already answered this, but when you guys go and record, are you all going to be in the same room together recording like a live band, or do you guys kind of all record your parts separately and then kind of piece it together?
Well, we'll probably, old school doing analog, we'll probably go in and play the band right off.
Oh, I love that.
Try and get tracks that way, at least get drums, and if you get other keyboard stuff, you you go from there. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe. You know, that's kind of how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it old school because I mean that's nobody else. You know, I mean you really need to know how to play with a band and play in a studio environment to record analog and. You know, everybody today can just piece themselves together. You can put your rock band and sound as tight as you want and not really know what the hell you're doing. You know,
I mean, it sounds.
Everybody has a computer at home and can record their own record. Not everybody has a 72-inch desk and a 2-inch tape machine in their home where they have to where they can record analog.
And when
looking forward to.
And when people just punch stuff in, I mean, like you said, you can get it sounding so precise and so pristine and so perfect. But I remember back in the day, you know, when I was still going out and buying all the new releases from my favorite bands, you could put a Ratt album on, a Black Blue album, and you could tell the guys were in the room together, but they recorded it live. It gives it such a live feel to me.
All your favorite albums were recorded that way, I guarantee you. The ones that influenced you, the ones that you're most familiar with, and the ones that the world is most familiar with were all recorded that way. So it's only natural, for me anyway, to want to record that way and look forward to doing it.
Yeah. The very last thing I want to ask you, Pete, before I let you go, as far as the recording, you guys going to be recording like in his cellar studio, and is he going to be producing this stuff, or any chance you'll bring in an outside producer?
No, we're going to produce it all ourselves. We're going to produce it, and Juan will do the engineering, and, we'll make the decisions, there in the studio. So it's going to, it's going to be a great thing. He's really a great producer. He's worked with a lot of different guys, a lot of bands, and, so, I mean, we're going to do it all ourselves, so it's going to be killer.
Well, I've really enjoyed talking to Pete so much, and I'm just to let you know, I've already interviewed Mike, like I told you. I'm going to be interviewing Tony on Friday, and then me and Juan are in the process. He'll be the last guy interview from a band. We're trying to get something set up for next week, because I guess you guys have a rehearsal or something tomorrow. But my plan is to get all 4 interviews done, and then we're going to post them all together on the site. So once that happens, I'll be sure to let you guys know. The cool thing about doing something like this is we get a chance to talk to everybody involved in the band, because I've always believed in talking about any given band, everybody kind of brings something to the table. You obviously bring, your experience. Juan brings his experience to this, and even Mike and Tony. So I think it's going to be a cool thing for people listening to kind of get each guy's perspective. So I want to thank you guys so much for taking time to do this. Each of you guys talking to me, and I just want to put it out there, Pete. Anytime you or the band or any of the guys want to do this, or you have anything that you're doing on the side as well to promote, please get in touch with me. We can do it again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate that too. And like I said, I've been playing with Michael Schenker for about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going out and doing some stuff with him at the beginning of this next year. But yeah, I mean, and I'll keep getting. He's doing like this cruise called Axes and Anchors, which is he's headlining along with Zach Wild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're going to go out and do that, and that would be fun.
Well, I wasn't even aware of that. I was just going to ask you, talking about Michael Schenker, did Juan ever tell you any of his experience about playing with Michael back in the day when he briefly came in to take Robin's place?
Yeah, he just said that, nothing crazy, nothing probably like I've been through with Michael, but, just said it was good, nothing really, nothing out of the ordinary, really. Yeah. Okay, well, once again, Pete, thanks so much for taking time to do this, and I'd love to talk to you again down the line, but I want to wish you guys and the guys all the luck with the band, and I'll definitely go buy an EP of original music from you guys once it drops, and next time you guys come to the LA area, I'm going to definitely go catch the show. For sure, hopefully that'll be sooner than later, and we're going up playing Fresno this weekend, so we're going to be up there, and I just appreciate that too, man. Just let me know when you get this together and stay in touch with me. I don't know if you have my email address. Do you want to?
Well, if you could do me a favor, because I know you don't want to give it out over the air, but if you could just send it to me through my Facebook page, that'd be great. And then what I could do later, when I get a chance today or tomorrow, I could even send you an MP3 file of interview we just did for you to just kind of listen to it and hear how it came out.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So I will be in touch with you then.
And the very last thing I guess I should ask you in regards to the interview that when we post it, typically I go on your Facebook page and just pick some photos. But if there's some photos of you or of a band that you prefer for me to use to post with the interview, you could go ahead and email those to me as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind you going on and just taking them out of there. I mean, there's a lot on there, so
okay.
Feel free.
Okay, well, I'll do that then. But yeah, go ahead and through the Facebook page, send me your email, and I'll email you a file of the interview we just did, and you can let me know what you think.
All right, Jason, that sounds great.
Okay, take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Okay, take